listening to a podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants with hosts Willie Dills, Chad King, and Ben Lee.
Let's go Giants! SF Giants! Let's go Giants! SF Giants! Dedicated to the greatest team in Major League Baseball history, the San Francisco Giants. This is Torture Cast.
Welcome, everybody, to the Torture Cast, the podcast by and for fans of the first place San Francisco Giants. I feel like we can say that quite often these days, which feels damn good. My name is Willie Dills, and of course I'm joined by one of our co-hosts here. We're missing one, but we still got the lovely, talented Mr. Chad King in the house. What's up, Chad?
Hey, 4.5 games up on the Dodgers puts me 3.5 games up on life. Feeling pretty good about it.
Never mind, I got you back.
Did you lose me there?
I lost you for a second. Yeah. Introduce yourself once again to the fantastic folks out there.
I was saying 4.5 games up on the Dodgers is putting me 3.5 games up on life.
That's
Feeling
right.
good about everything.
That's right. It's been real fun the past couple weeks, and we missed the show last week. This is episode 37, which is, of course, the Kelly Downs episode.
As everyone would know.
Yeah, everybody knows that he's number 37, right? Well, Chad apparently knew that right off the bat. Even though this guy is, I only pitched for the Giants for, 5-6 years in the late 80s, early 90s. But, he was a very memorable Giant. Maybe because of the teams that we had during that time. I mean, he was on the 87 team that went to the playoffs.
Yeah.
The 91 team, which we just rehashed, that team was a fantastic team. And then left before we got to our 93 team, which was another fun team. But, Kelly Downs. Miss those days. Some good guys on the team.
So one of the few times that name's ever going to come up in Giants talk, but hey, it's here.
Yeah, he didn't really, distinguish himself necessarily as one of those all-time Giants. But, he's one of those guys to me, like he was just on those teams with so many of those guys. And it was also that part of my life where watching baseball was pretty much all I really cared about doing that I'm always going to remember, guys like Kelly Downs. He just, when I was, he came to the team, I must have been 5 or 6 years old. And
yeah, well, you were just listing off some of those names from those teams around that era. And it's funny how you kind of forget who they were and when they were playing. And then you started reading off those names, and it was just bringing back all these memories of games and their at-bats or their deliveries or whatever. You were saying, Darren Lewis and Trevor Wilson and these kind of guys. Kevin Bass. I mean, that's crazy. That's like
Kevin Bass in left field.
Who are we talking about here?
That was quite a team. And then I also remember, that was like kind of the Willie McGee era for me. I used to love Willie McGee when he was a Giant. Probably because I kind of hated him when he was with the Cardinals.
Painful batting stance. And
he was just such an odd baseball player. He's kind of like the Hunter Pence of his day.
Oh man,
don't you think?
Hunter Pence is hard to watch.
Hunter Pence is just so awkward in everything he does, but I love that kid. I'm really hoping. I got to say, he still hasn't fully turned it around, but he's definitely gotten closer to what he should be, and he's starting to actually, hit the ball the other way real good.
He's making some loud outs. He's making some contact. So I'm hoping that, this last month here, they need him in this stretch and hopefully into the playoffs. And hopefully he shakes off whatever cobwebs he had coming over here and he starts producing like we think he can.
Yeah, he still feels solid to me. When he's up at the plate, I still feel good. And I really do think that, that little stretch of time where he wasn't hitting that good, but we were still winning. It doesn't mean to me that I don't think we should look at this guy as a real long-term solution in right field here, because I think he's got all the tools to fill that gap for us, and I would love to see this. He's still young, so him and Pagan I would love to see stick around as Giants for a few more years. But let's talk about the Giants currently. Right now, you mentioned it at the top of the show, 4.5 games up on the Dodgers. The Dodgers have to be feeling a little bit snake-bitten by the fact that they went out and spent all this money and have not closed the gap at all.
Yeah, we haven't had a chance to talk about this. The trade happened between our shows.
That's right. That's right. We haven't talked about it. Okay, let's talk about it.
We haven't talked about it because it was a little bit more than a week ago. It was pretty much a Saturday after we podcast. But anyway, just seeing that on paper, and it was like, oh, crap. Here we go. So it reminded me of the Fred McGriff trade back in 1993. I believe they got him just after the All-Star break. But anyway, the Braves were 9 games back of the Giants, and after McGriff came aboard, the Braves just caught fire. Literally, there was that fire at, well, I guess it wasn't Turner Field. It was Fulton County Stadium at the time. And they caught the Giants in the last week of the season, won by 1 game with 104 wins, even though the Giants had 103.
Yeah,
and
that was painful.
The second best record in the majors, but didn't even get to the dance. But anyway, so even though it wasn't as early as it was in that season, it did remind me of that potential, especially with Adrian Gonzalez, another left-handed hitting first baseman, just like McGriff. And we know what he's capable of, especially in a smaller ballpark than Petco was.
Well, yeah, he played most of his career in San Diego, where hitters go to not get power numbers, basically. I mean, to hit one out there, especially a left-hander, it's tough.
And that along with, they already got Hanley Ramirez, and Victorino is a nice little plug-in for spot duty here and there, and he has a lot of postseason experience. And then Josh Beckett, another postseason experienced guy. It was looking like they were becoming the Yankees of the West.
Yeah, and really that's basically the Los Angeles Yankees of Anaheim,
of Boston,
or whatever.
Philadelphia, and Miami. Yeah.
Yeah. But it hasn't turned out that way.
But alas, no. But unfortunately, they have had a couple of walk-offs the last 2 nights, which, obviously the Giants had one yesterday too, so those kind of nullify each other. But, at 4.5 could be 6.5 right now if Arizona and San Diego could have held on to those leads. But
yeah. This is kind of my feeling on it is that when the trade went down, a couple of my thoughts happened. Well, first of all, what's the point of a trade deadline if you can just pull off 4-player blockbuster trades after the deadline just by waiving people? Yeah. To me, it just seems a little bit silly. I understand one guy, but when there's these massive 4 players going there, a bunch of players going back the other way, it just doesn't feel like the trade deadline is anything at all. It just seems like it's just it's basically a dumb little loophole that you got to just work around.
Yeah, well, basically Boston was looking to dump their salary, and they kind of looked around, said anyone willing to take on $150 million or whatever it was. I guess it's like 85 a year, and they said, yeah, we'll take them. So,
well, the total over the total actual contracted money left on all these contracts is over $250 million, I think, or it's somewhere around $250 million for all 4 of those players. Which obviously most of that is in 2 guys. It's in Beckett and Gonzalez, but still, you look at Crawford is another guy who his contract was a little bit bigger than maybe it should have been. But yeah, the Red Sox having a crazy down year, which I don't think anybody really saw coming necessarily. We knew that some of their players were getting towards the back end of their careers, but the whole thing with Valentine and just the players kind of revolting against him and all that, they just started to crumble and realized they had a whole bunch of guys with a whole bunch of money owed to them and no real young talent coming up. So basically what they've done is I think they've set themselves up to be good again in about 3 years, to be real good again, especially with the budget they have. So, I think the Red Sox, even though the Dodgers, got probably the better end of the playing talent right now, I think the Red Sox did exactly what they wanted to do in this trade, and they don't feel bad about it at all.
No, not at all. As a Red Sox fan, I'd be ecstatic right now because they have plenty of money, so they can just reload and get a new manager, and they're going to be fine. Yeah,
and now the Dodger fans, the sense I got from them was that they thought, okay, well now it's over. It's all us the rest of the way. That was what they all thought. Now, Beckett, his first game with the Dodgers did not go so well. Gonzalez has come on a little bit of late, but he didn't immediately have that impact that I think they all thought he was going to. They still scare me, though, obviously. They have the ability at any point with the players they have to just go on a sick run and win, 10 in a row. I don't think it's going to happen because of the fact that they're going to have to run Blanton out there every 5th day. But the Dodgers definitely are a more scary team to me than they were, 2 weeks ago before this trade happened. Now, I think they might be learning the hard lesson that just because you get a bunch of superstars doesn't necessarily mean you win every game. Now, the Yankees definitely learned this lesson several times, and they actually have adjusted their strategy to be a little bit more of a cohesive unit rather than just grabbing up every single free. They're still the Yankees, but the Yankees have not been quite what they were in the mid-2000s, where it was just like anybody anybody of any value on any team that their contract was up, they were going to the Yankees, and that's not the case anymore because it didn't really work for them. They weren't winning World Series, So I think the Dodgers might end up learning that lesson, and that's what I'm hoping for anyway, because the Giants have really galvanized. Let's just real quickly talk about now since the post-Melky era. I believe we are 13-4, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, lactose intolerant era.
Yeah, exactly. So 13-4 that's hot. I mean, that's red hot. Yeah. So and obviously, like, the competition we've been playing hasn't been great, which is another reason why I think the Dodgers may have panicked a little bit there a few games back, looking at the rest of their schedule, going, well, we're going to play the Nationals, we're going to play the Reds, the Giants are going to play the Cubs, and
the Astros,
and we split with Atlanta, and Atlanta's a good team.
They're a good team. Yeah.
We split with them after winning the first two games, and it looked like we might run away with that series as well. But obviously didn't work out that well. But 13-4. So how do we feel about left field? Is it still such a black hole? Do you think Xavier Nady is the guy who can? Do you think that his season was as bad as it looked, or was that just injuries and just a down year so far? And can he bring that back?
Yeah, I'm just hoping he ends up being like a Cody Ross, where he's not really proven anymore and he's maybe over the hill a little bit, but he finds a little bit of that magic left for a team that he's willing to put all his heart and soul into to make the postseason. So, no, I don't think this is the real Xavier Nadia. He needs to stand up right now, and I think he is. But, hopefully he can do what he's been doing this week. I mean, his first at bat was in Chicago, and he roped a double.
Yeah, he hit that hard. Yeah, bases clearing, 3 RBIs right off the bat, and and he's looked good in the outfield. He looks like he feels healthy. He talked about how, I think it was a wrist or a hand or something that had been bothering him, and he just didn't really have a chance. He was trying to just play through it and didn't really have a chance to really rest it. And then when he got released, actually got a little bit of time with that hand to let it heal. Went down to the minors where he could, rather than having to try to help the ball club, he could just go, look, I need to heal this thing up a little bit and then get back into working on my swing. And he seems to feel that this may have turned it around for him, and he's feeling a little bit better. Obviously, he grew up a Giants fan as well, which is always a big deal. Like Pat Burrell coming to the Giants was like this refreshing, it's just like, kind of a little dream come true, to come to your team that you always rooted for. And so Xavier Nady, he looked like a giddy schoolboy when he put that uniform on and wrapped a double down the line and got 3 RBIs in. He was extremely excited, and I think everybody was excited for him. We all didn't have high expectations, and to have that happen right off the bat felt real good. So I don't know if he's the answer yet, but I'm hopeful. I think if he does, because Cody Ross didn't really come on strong until the playoffs, really. I mean,
yeah, really.
He was still a shock at that point. When he hit the 2 home runs in the Philadelphia series, we went, oh, holy crap. He hit the one in Atlanta that kind of got it going, and then he hit the 2 more in Philadelphia, and we said, oh, okay, well, this will work, So a little bit of magic can go a long way if it happens at the right time.
Well,
So
apparently
see.
he's keeping his number 68.
Is he? He's not switching to 12?
Yeah, he's keeping it.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's pretty sweet.
Okay.
I like it.
That is cool. Maybe he just thought, this number 68 seems to have some hits in it, so I'm going to stick with it. All right, so Nady, maybe not. We'll see. I've heard talk of Arias getting a couple of starts out there, which leads me to my next question, and this is kind of an interesting topic, I think, because the guy was playing so well. What happened to Ryan Terrio? Is it just because Arias got so hot and Scooter moved over to second and also got hot?
I think that's what it is.
Okay.
He's not necessarily cold, but Arias and Scutaro are on fire right now. Those two guys have been coming through in so many clutch situations, not just at the end of games, but in the middle of games. I mean, some of these big ones are coming up with 3 for 5s, 3 RBIs, nice late inning, late game knock that ties
doubles,
it up,
home
puts it
runs.
ahead. Yeah. I mean, Arias had that one, he had 5 or 6 RBIs in one game. Scutaro had 7 RBI in one game. That was his career high. That was a few weeks ago. Yeah, they've just been pouring it on. So I think, Bochy, he usually does play the hot hand. And so I think he's just the odd man out at this point.
It's kind of unfortunate, but it's a good problem to have because I really liked how Terrio was playing. and I really felt good about him playing at second base. Now, Scudero definitely solidified the infield for us, I believe, which we were sorely lacking for a little while there. Now Pablo comes back, he's healthy. Arias shows that he's pretty capable. Now we've got Brandon Crawford and Ryan Theriot going. But what about us? We're still. I mean, Crawford just almost knocked one into the water after Belt did just now. I just hit the very top of the Willie Mays wall, and he's actually been coming through a little bit lately too. So right now we got a lot of guys, and this could be a good situation. This could really make the guys who are getting the starts, whoever Bochy plugs in, feel like they have to produce that day to get a start the next day. And it could motivate these guys a little bit. So I mean, right now, obviously, you cannot take Scooter out of the lineup. Arias has been a little bit dinged up, but if he's healthy, he's in right now. But I would really like to see Theriot and Crawford get some playing time down the stretch as well. I really like those guys. So
yeah, Crawford's been swinging a much better stick in the second half. He's got his average up to 249. It wasn't that long ago he was around 230. So
well, we talked at the beginning of the year and we said what would we be happy with. And
I think we were saying 230.
We all said about 230 we would feel okay with as long as he played strong D. And obviously he had a real rough start defensively, but he's not. He's completely turned that around. So he's definitely surpassed where we thought we wanted him to be. And I looked for this guy to at one point in his career become a legit like Omar Vizquel style 260 hitter every year and play good defense. And be able to start for somebody at shortstop pretty much the rest of his career, So, all right, let's talk about this Buster Posey thing. It's weird because the Giants are so good right now. The guys they're playing they're playing comeback baseball. They're winning games against the teams that they're supposed to win against. So it's weird that we've got a couple of little things to talk about, which I don't even know are things to worry about or not. But they could potentially. They seem like they could be, small cracks that could bust open to something worse, Yeah. So this whole Buster Posey thing, now, something has to be going on with Buster Posey and Tim Lincecum. We know Tim Lincecum really liked Benji Molina and was bummed out when Benji Molina left. And Posey became the everyday catcher. And, but obviously it worked. It worked out for us. We won the World Series that year. But, he was a little bit sore about losing his favorite catcher. He really liked Benji Molina. He had some of his best some of his best performances ever with Benji. But obviously, it worked for the Giants. I don't know if I was Timmy, if I would still hold some sort of a grudge. But somehow it seems like that has happened. Maybe he doesn't like the way Buster calls the game. Maybe he doesn't like the way he frames pitches. I'm not exactly sure what it is. But he's not catching Timmy ever. And now Barry Zito came out and had this quote about Buster Posey after a game that I believe we won the game, which is a little bit weird to even say something like this after we won the game. He gave up 3 runs on 7 hits, so he said, I didn't have it tonight. My command was below average. It was a matter of me throwing the pitch I want to throw. Posey has a great idea for hitters, but you can't always guess right 100% of the time. I'm upset I threw a couple of change-ups. That's my job to shake him off. It's nothing Posey's doing wrong. Now, okay. I think he realized what he was saying and tried to catch himself at the end there.
Yeah.
And say, it's nothing Posey's doing wrong. But, dude, you're second-guessing what your catcher's putting down for you. You second-guess that at the time he puts it down, not after the game. You shake
exactly
it off.
Right. He's saying, I should have shook it off, but it's nothing he's doing wrong. It's kind of a backhanded, little poke. Shake him off. If you don't want to throw a changeup, shake him off. That's the, relationship between the pitcher and catcher. You're not going to always go with what the catcher wants every single pitch. So shake him off. Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
Don't throw him under the bus after the game.
I don't get to say the catcher's name period when you're talking about your own performance, I think is just it's not good. That's kind of low class right there. And I'm surprised to hear this from Zito because he really has been since he's come here. Kind of the class act in a tough situation, right? I mean, the guy who's not playing to the contract that he's got, the potential that he apparently was supposed to have, the abilities that everybody thought he had, he's not playing up to those. And yet he's still kind of maintained that workmanlike approach and never talked bad about the team, never talked bad about anybody else. Took it all in stride, took the fact that he didn't make the playoff roster in 2010. Didn't seem to hold a grudge. Obviously, I know it must have eaten him up inside, And I've heard him say a couple times recently that it was bittersweet and all that stuff, But the fact of the matter is he got a ring out of it, and we still won the World Series on the back of his full season of starts,
Well, and he never said a bad thing that year.
No,
he was always in the
exactly.
dugout. He was cheering them on. He was jumping over the railing after the wins. I mean, everybody was like, "Oh wow, look at him! He's sucking it up. He's being the man. He's, he understands why he's not on the roster, but he's there to support his team." But I am a little surprised he came out and said this about Posey. I just don't understand what is the difference between Hector and Posey as far as Zito's concerned. And it's the same with Timmy as well.
I don't get it.
I mean, if he's calling a pitch that they don't agree with, they can still control the game. They can still control the pitches that they want to throw. So you just shake them off and you get the pitch you want, and then you go with it.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly Lincecum had an stellar year in 2010. Posey caught him that year.
Absolutely. Caught him more than half the year.
That's not the difference this year. We know that. We know it's not Posey, it's Lincecum himself.
Yeah, no, it's to me it seems ridiculous to even consider that Posey would be causing Lincecum to have an off year. Now let's just real quick, let's just say in Posey's defense, Matt Cain threw a perfect game with Posey catching and did not shake off a single call that Posey made.
That's a good call. I forgot about that, but that's what Cain said. Cain said he did not shake off a single call.
I've watched the game again, and literally every single pitch was Posey put the sign down, Cain rocked into his windup. That was it. It never once was off of that rhythm. And so to me, when you say, "Oh, it's my job to shake him off," I didn't throw. It was a matter of me throwing the pitch I want to throw. That it's like, so this happens in golf too. If you pick out the club and you're not sure about it, right? If you grab a 7-iron and you think, well, this could just be an 8-iron, and you go up there and you're not sure, you make a bad swing, right? But if you just go up there and you go, yeah, 7-iron is the club. That's the one I want. I don't care what I've decided on this. It's what I'm going with. You always make a better swing. So if you don't shake them off, don't go into your windup doubting that pitch. Throw that pitch like you mean it, like you know that that's the right pitch, Matt Cain needs to go talk to these guys and be like, dudes, take it from me, the guy, Mr. Perfect. Suck it up. Throw your pitches. Take the blame yourself if you have a bad outing.
You're right. If they're going with one of Posey's calls and they have any doubt in their mind, they're not going to execute the pitch perfectly. They're just not. It's something in the back of their head already. So don't blame it on him afterwards. This is what Posey thinks. He studies the hitters. He knows their tendencies. He's going with this. But the pitchers themselves, of course, know how they're feeling that particular day. Sometimes they have certain grips or feel for certain pitches. Fastball's working, the changeup's working, the curveball's working, and something else isn't. So they're going to go with what's feeling good for the day. So, he wants to call a changeup. Yeah, I don't really feel good about that pitch on this particular scenario. So I'm going to shake him off. But yeah, if you go into that one specific pitch, just doubting it, and then you hang it, and then they bang it. Just don't throw
yeah, that's afterwards. That's you.
Yeah,
you did that.
Yeah, you.
Yeah. So hopefully this all I want to see Posey behind the dish when Lincecum is starting in the postseason, which we'll talk about that later. I don't want to see Hector Sanchez behind the plate and Posey playing first because it's forced on us by Tim Lincecum. I don't want to see that. Bruce Bochy should make the call of who catches based on who he wants to catch that day, not who his pitcher wants to throw to. You're a Major League Baseball player. You can throw to any catcher. Get a rapport going. Figure it out. I don't need to hear about these weird little disputes between guys on the team. That's not good for anybody.
Lincecum succeeded his whole career from high school through college through the majors with a variety of catchers, good and bad.
Yeah.
And he's succeeded every step of the way. So the catcher is not the issue.
No. Hell no. Exactly. All right. So, yeah, let's move on. I mean, to me, it's just kind of an annoyance. Right now, it doesn't seem to be a major factor. We're winning. But come playoff time, you got to iron this stuff out. You can't worry about who's back there. You got to worry about your own self. All right. So yesterday's win against the D-backs. Did you get to watch this whole game?
I did. That was just sweet.
Yeah, I was barbecuing at my uncle and aunt's house in Antioch. We watched the entire game, eating delicious food. peach pie and vanilla ice cream, and when we got into extra innings, my uncle gets up and goes and gets another piece of pie and some more ice cream, and everybody looked at, because we'd already eaten a ton at this point, and everybody looked at him like, "Are you serious?" And then so I came to my uncle's defense. I said, "Hey, extra innings, extra pie. That's how it works."
That's how it works.
But yeah, so that was, to me, the funnest game of the year to watch. The most excruciating game in a lot of ways as well, because we go up early, 4-0, and then it was like the game had three distinct parts. It was all Giants, then it was all D-backs, and that all D-backs portion seemed to last forever. I mean, there was that one inning. I think it was the sixth inning.
They had the 5-run sixth.
Yeah, the 5-run sixth. Top of the sixth, that lasted forever. It felt like it was never going to end. I think we had 3-4 pitchers come in that inning. There was no poor defense played on the Giants' part or anything like that. It was just
base hit after base hit.
Just strong, hard base knocks over and over and over again. And and it looked like that was it. It looked like, okay, well, we can't win them all, right? After coming back against the Astros and the Cubs, it was like, we can't do this every single time, And then lo and behold, against the guy who hasn't given up a run in over 14 innings, I think, 12 or 14 innings, the Giants score 2 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th against the closer. Mm-hmm. And then Scudero comes through, and after Crawford beats out, he definitely should have beat that out, by the way.
Sacrificed over to second.
Yeah.
Gets moved over on a fielder's choice or ground out to second. Yeah.
And then with 2 outs, Scudero knocks one straight down, the same exact hit, basically, that Posey got in the 9th to score the run.
Yeah.
Scudero does in the 10th, and we win that game. Now, the Dodgers had walked off the night before, and then, of course,
Putz.
Against the same guy, Putz.
Against the same guy.
Yeah. Now, then the very next night, they do it again. But if we don't do that yesterday, we're 3.5 up. With the Dodgers thinking, hey, we can do this now.
Stealing the headlines, exactly.
We now twice in a row we're walking off and we're feeling good. But when they walk off and then look up and go, we didn't make up any ground.
Nope.
The Giants did it too. I feel like that's a huge psychological gut punch to the Dodgers.
Oh, it is huge.
I mean, do you feel like that was the best win of the year?
Oh, I think it was up there, if not the best win of the year. I can't recall another game this year that was so back and forth. And like you said, to come back with 2 in the 8th and 1 in the 9th, and then Scudero just to pound it out in the 10th like that with 2 outs, just seal the deal. It was a game of emotions for sure. What was it, 9-8?
9-8, yeah.
Yeah, it was like a 3-act play. I think that's a good
definitely
good analogy there.
It was just crazy how back and forth the momentum of that game went. It was literally one team's turn, then the other team's turn, and then back to it was one of those things. And then not only that, but there was that one portion where we did get a run back, made it 7-5, and then they got another run and made it 8-5 again. So suddenly we're back down 3, and and it just felt like, oh my God, like we needed a shutout inning there. And then of course also you had some of the added drama of the bullpen that's not Romo, Lopez, Affeldt, and why am I blanking on the other dude? The other lefty.
Maharis?
Maharis, those guys have all been pitching amazing, right?
Yeah.
None of those guys come in. It's the other guys that we're going to need who are blowing this game for us, We're going to need guys like Moda, We're going to need guys like Hens. I mean, I don't know if Contos is going to make the playoff roster the way he's going right now, but we're going to need some middle bullpen. We can't run those same 4 guys out every single game, We're going to need some of these other guys down the stretch. So they were struggling, so that was a serious problem in my eyes that was playing out right in front of us, is who else do we have besides those 4 guys? It's
not often they have to get in the middle relief, for that long. So it was a little unnerving to see them kind of fail there. But then again, we do need to make it to the playoffs. And once the playoffs come around, I think those guys like Lopez and Mijares and Romo and Affeldt, they're going to be overused. They're going to be pounded out every day. That's the way Bochy ran the 2010 playoffs as well. But that doesn't include the next 3 weeks. And so they have expanded the rosters, but there's only so many AAA guys you want to throw out there in crucial games.
Yeah, but Machi really, really was a great story as well. I mean, and when the 9th inning came around, and they threw Machi out there. First ever game in the major leagues. 30-year-old, 12 years in the minors. My uncle looked over at me and goes, "Why is it not Romo?" He kept saying that the entire game. Why are they not putting Romo in there? And I was like, they can't throw him out there every game. They gotta use some other guys. He's been pitching a lot this year.
Sports Center update. Here we go.
Oh, by the way, we just tied it up. Pablo
it up.
Sandoval hit one other way with a runner on third and one out. The Giants again coming back and tying this game up after being down 6-2. So
6-2 now. It's 6-6 in the seventh.
6-6. Here we go. Buster Posey at the plate and double play. All right. So, all right. Let's move on. Let's do the big question here. So the big question right now: has Vogelsong lost it? Last 5 starts, 10+ ERA, and seeing his National League leading 2.24 ERA go all the way up to 3.29.
Yeah, this does include tonight's start, where
yes.
he gave up 6 earned in 3+. So he has definitely lost it. And Henry Schulman tweeted this out, and he said, his ERA has gone up over a run in his last 5 starts, but it's really unusual for it to rise that much for any pitcher, any starter with this many innings this late in the season.
Absolutely. Yeah, you really have to
It takes a
slump.
lot of runs to inflate your ERA that much.
Yeah. Well, he had a couple of disastrous starts.
Washington.
Yeah.
That was 8 runs in 3 or 4 innings, and then tonight 6 runs in 3 innings. So
yeah, so those will inflate that ERA pretty fast. But and even when he pitches somewhat decently, it's he's kind of becoming like the Tim Lincecum all of a sudden, where you're going, well, he gave up 3 over 6, so that's okay. No, he gave up 4 and 6, and we stayed in the game. I'm okay with that until he turns it around.
Yep.
We don't want to feel that way about any of our guys. None of these guys should be that way in our minds. We should be expecting every single one of them to go out there and pitch well. And that's what the Giants need. Our offense, while obviously capable at this point in the season of coming back and scoring 9 runs, 6 runs, whatever we need, we can't rely on that. Definitely not. And it seems to me that he hasn't lost velocity. It seems to me that there's something going on. We've always talked about Vogelsong being able to pinpoint the fastball anywhere in the zone, right? That seems to be where he's lost it.
Yep. I mean, a guy who throws 89, 90 miles an hour, he's actually 3 or 4 miles an hour slower than Lincecum. He's just relied on pitch location his entire career, especially the last 2 years. But he doesn't have the resume that Lincecum has, or Kane has, or some of these other guys. And yeah, he's pitched his heart out for the Giants the last year and a half. But I think his stamina is wearing down. That's what I think it is. And I wouldn't be against it as a fan. And I know he would be against it because he is such a gamer, and he's always got that game face on, and he's always just angry on game day. I mean, he is such a competitor that I think he would potentially take it personally. But at the same time, if any of those guys like Gardner and Bochy and the whole pitching staff there thinks that he's lost his stamina, they've expanded the roster. Why don't they go ahead and skip a start?
No, absolutely. I totally
throw some
agree.
Side sessions. Let someone else take his spot, because he's not doing any better than that right now.
Especially when we end up like maybe a game against the Rockies, would be perfect for this, because we're going to play the Rockies, who kind of do this anyway. It kind of have these up to they go, what is it, 75 pitches
pitch count or whatever.
Yeah, 75 pitch. We could throw one of our guys out there and kind of just for one game match them up in that similar fashion and give him a day, and go, hey, look, rest that arm. Go ahead, don't do anything. Don't throw a side. Don't do anything. Just let the arm heal, and then once that start is skipped, then do your normal side session, do your normal bullpen throwing, and then get ready for your next start. I mean, to me, it seems like if we're 4.5 games up, we can start to think about the playoffs. We can start doing some of that stuff. We can do like the basketball thing, like the Spurs start to do towards the end of the year, where suddenly like the guy, they're not letting all their guys go the full 48 anymore. They're going, hey, look, we're in there. Let's get ready for the playoffs, And obviously with the Dodgers 4.5 back, it's not like we have a 12-game lead. We're not sitting on a massive lead, but I think we can a little bit try to set ourselves up for long-term success here. So I agree. I think that would be a good idea. Now that brings us to another point. If he doesn't turn it around and the playoffs start today, who's in our rotation right now? Do you send?
Well, you have a 4-man rotation in the playoffs. So right now you obviously have Bum and Kane, and as of a few weeks ago, Vogelsong was a lock. I'm not saying he's not. I mean, he could just be going through a bad stretch. Pitchers do this; they go through, 4, 5, 6 consecutive starts. So hopefully he turns it around and everything's going to be okay. His stats are still way better than Lincecum. But yeah, that number 4 starter. Not saying he would be number 4, but the 4th starter. I don't know if you have to go with Lincecum. I mean, I listen to a lot of people saying, "Hey, look, he's got the experience. He pitched them to that World Series victory in 2010. He had a magical run. You got to let him have that chance. No matter if he has an 8 ERA during the season, you got to let him do it because maybe he'll turn something on in the playoffs. Maybe he'll find that magic that he had back in 2010." And others are like, "Screw him, man. I mean, they did it to Zito, and he's the one who was earning the biggest paycheck on the team." So they looked at the numbers and they said, "You know what? This does not give us our best chance to win the playoffs this year." And it was a good thing they left him off the roster. I'm not saying they would ever leave Lincecum off the roster. I'm just wondering if it's a possibility that if Lincecum his last 3 or 4 starts just completely blows it and his ERA ends up, hovering around 5.5 or 6 for the year. I mean, there's not that many postseason starters that have that high of an ERA from the regular season.
No, absolutely not.
It would be, I wouldn't say it's unprecedented, but extremely rare.
It would be real tough. It'd be real tough, though, to take a two-time Cy Young Award winner and put him on the bench, especially after what he did in 2010. I mean, out-dueling some of the top pitchers. He pitched that game against Derek Lowe alone to get us started.
The 1-0, yeah.
1-0 game where he goes the complete game, strikes out 10 or whatever, 14, whatever it was. I mean, that was a sick performance, and it really solidified him as a guy who can do this, you know what I mean, and who can show up in the big games. So it's real tough to say now he sits. I mean, I'd be more inclined at this point to sit somebody in the bullpen and send one of those starters to the pen right now. If I were Bruce Bochy, I think right now that's what I would do. I think now Zito hasn't shown himself that he's consistently good this entire season, but he has come through for us in a lot of games this year, and he's definitely pitched better than he has in a long time. And I think he's got it in him. I think the guy really, in a big game situation, I know he's not the best guy out there with the best tools, but, and in the game yesterday, for a lot of the game, he was pitching very well. And then it was just he just let a couple of 2-strike pitches get away from him. But pretty soon he got pulled. But you looked at what happened to the guys who came in after him. I think the Diamondbacks basically just had a really good approach at the plate in the middle of the game there. And, I do feel that Zito is a guy who has kind of at this point just deserves to be on the roster at some point during the playoffs. Just from what he's gone through, and there's a couple of guys on that bullpen who I think you could sit them and replace them with one of these guys. So I don't envy making
would
this
deserve
decision
to be on the roster this time.
Yeah. I don't envy the decision that's ahead of Bruce Bochy when it comes that time, though. Considering how hard some of these guys have made that decision, no one's really, you'd like at this point Lincecum to have distinguished himself as not being that guy anymore and being back to his old self, but it hasn't happened. So it's going to be interesting.
A couple of big starts. That last one, that he had down in L.A. I mean, it was 2 runs in 6 innings.
Yeah,
or 6 and a third or whatever it was. I mean, that was just solid. I mean,
we
went down there and swept the Dodgers. So that was a huge, huge, huge victory.
Yeah, we needed it. When it was Timmy Day and you go, well, Timmy Day is not what he used to be. Now when we need this game, he stepped up and he pitched well. So he's been battling. So it's hard to say that we're going to chuck him off the roster. You know what I mean? Because he has been battling and he showed his fortitude and what he's got. So and we saw it in the playoffs in 2010. So all right, let's do some tweet at me, brah. Oh wait, hold on, armchair man. Oh, that's what we just did. Armchair manager. Sorry. Tweet at me, brah. I'm going to go ahead and start us off. Wendy Thurm, who actually appeared on this show at one point, who is at Hanging Sliders on Twitter, tweeted this today, actually, and I thought this was funny considering the DNC is rolling right now. And, by the way, Michelle Obama's speech, holy crap.
Yeah, I missed that tonight. I'm going to have to YouTube it.
what happened to first ladies are not what they used to be, man. Holy, I mean, that was some passionate stuff right there. All right, so at Hanging Slider says, if Barack Obama can save the U.S. auto industry, certainly he can fix what ails Ryan Vogelsong. So clearly, what we need is we need Barack Obama to make a visit to the Giants. He's a White Sox fan, but.
That's unfortunate, but that's all right.
He had to
left.
He had to meet all the Giants in 2010. He liked the beard guy. What did he say? He said, like, "Where's that beard guy?"
Yeah, where's that beard guy? And he was looking, and Brian was just kind of like hiding in the background. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad the President of the United States isn't completely up on the roster of the World Series champion. So
yeah. He knows us as that beard guy. Yeah. You should know all their names. What if he comes out there and he's like, "Where is number 38?" But it'd be like, dude, you got a country to run.
Yeah, he knew Willie Mays and the beard guy.
Willie Mays and the beard guy. That's right.
That was pretty much all he knew.
Yeah. All right, what do you got?
All right, so I saw this one today. I thought it was a pretty good fit. Paul Gutierrez from CSN, Sports Bay Area, said Marco Scutero is Venezuelan for Cody Ross.
Oh, hell yeah. There was a really good one the other day that they said it was yesterday's game. Actually, was like game Venezuela because all our Venezuelans came through. We had Hector Sanchez, Marco Scutero, Pablo Sandoval, and Machi. Like all had great games, and they were saying that that what they call them in Venezuela is Los San Franciscos de Venezuelas or something like that. The team down there.
I got to admit, Scutero has been in the league for quite some time. I mean, with the Blue Jays and the A's and a couple other teams, and he's always been
Yankees
kind of
too. Yeah,
that spunky little player that you see in the highlights, right? And especially when he was with the A's, he was a little spark plug, and he's done a lot of good things in his career. I didn't follow him closely or anything, just kind of saw him in highlights and saw him with the A's and all that. I honestly thought, is this guy Italian? Marco Scutaro.
Well, his family
I honestly
is. Yeah.
never knew that he was Venezuelan.
Well, no, he was born in Venezuela, but I think his father's Italian and his mother is from the Virgin Islands or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he actually, it's a funky thing. But yeah, he's Italian heritage, but born in Venezuela. So
I want to hear them announce that over the PA system one of these days. Marco Scutaro.
Yeah.
Just see what kind of.
I always when I didn't hear announcers say his name and I just read it, I always thought it was Scutaro. But yeah, everybody says Scutero. So, which doesn't sound nearly as cool. Not nearly as cool. So let's go with our new favorite guys. I'm gonna take Machi. Machi. We've been looking for someone to come out of the bullpen and save some people here, and I love the story of a guy who's 30 years old coming out of the minors for the first time. And when you come in, you pitch 1, 2, 3 inning and throws 95, throws some real nasty breaking stuff, and another big old Latin dude. I love that guy. I love that. That's the Giants' look. Is just big old Latin dudes, and he really impressed me yesterday with his stuff and. Came in today, gave up a walk, and then got the next guy to bunt to pop up to Pablo Sandoval on a bunt. But
they have a little bit of a situation developing right now, don't they?
Yeah, they got a little situation. Their bases loaded with one out, I believe, right now. But he's showing some good stuff out there on the mound, and we'll see if he can kind of keep his nerves under wrap here. And continue to throw.
Quite honestly, when he came out there, he kind of looked like a softball player. But
yeah, but then he throws 95 with movement. I mean,
exactly.
That's a 95-mile-an-hour two-seam fastball too. I love that. I love a fastball with movement on it. So
like these big guys, like obviously Machi is one of them, but CC Sabathia and some other big guys in the past, like Don Robinson and Rick Russell and others. And some of these guys succeed so well in their major league career, and you wonder how it would affect their performance if they actually lost weight and got in shape. I mean, obviously their arms are in good shape, they have stamina and the whole thing, but does that added gut weight help them drive their legs, and get a little zip on the ball?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Not. Yeah.
It'd be interesting if one of these guys like CC Sabathia, who's already an elite pitcher, dropped 50 pounds just to see what would happen to his game. I mean, clearly he's comfortable with where he's at, but you just wonder, these guys are making these millions of dollars. It's, same with Panda, right?
Yeah, what if Panda was down to a slim? What if he got down to a slim 215 or something like that? I mean, Panda would be, it would be scary to think about.
I mean, he's definitely fast for his size. He kind of reminds me of Andres Galarraga a little bit, you know?
Sure.
Kinda quick.
Yeah, it just gets that weight going. And
But, man, it's kind of bad when you see the slow-mo instant replay and he's running after a fly ball or, running out a double and, his man boobs and gut are just, up and down and up and down.
He gets out of breath, too. He gets out of breath.
Oh, dude, seriously.
Yeah, pull it together, man. All right, so what's your new favorite guy?
All right, so we were just talking about him. Scutaro. I almost said Scutaro, but he's just been amazing. He's been a great little pickup for them.
No, he's well outshined what anybody expected from him at this point.
He's hitting well over 300, tons of RBIs, and just a limited amount of ABs. And he's pretty much the regular second, batter now. Behind Pagan, which is another guy we didn't talk about tonight. We don't need to, but they've
solidified the 1-2 spot right there.
Yeah.
I mean that's you need a good 1-2 punch to open up a game. And when you got 3, 4, 5 as strong as we do right now, you need those guys to get on base for those 3, 4, 5 guys to get their numbers. And they're
those
doing
two guys,
it.
honestly, they've been setting the table for the 3, 4, 5 guys, and obviously their runs per game, especially on the road, have just skyrocketed. They're 10-2 in their last 2 road trips. They're averaging more runs on the road than they are at home this year.
Which makes sense, though. I mean, honestly, the Giants should.
Ballparks and everything.
The Giants should, because if we have one of the harder ballparks to score in, we should obviously average more runs. We shouldn't play better as a team, but
we have been lately.
Yeah, but we should average more runs, clearly. But yeah, I mean, I can't remember the last time I felt as good about our 1-2 guys as I do right now. I mean, it's kind of harkens back to the Brett Butler, Robbie Thompson days a little bit, where you just kind of feel like those guys are going to get it going for you. And they have. They just keep doing it. So hopefully that just continues right on marching through, and they take us into the playoffs playing as well as they are right now. All right, let's hate on some people.
Hate them.
I'm going to hate on somebody I actually don't hate, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I totally don't hate Tim Hudson, but I do right now. I'll tell you why. So the guy's been, he's just a professional his whole career, and he's always been a really great pitcher. He's gone through a couple of injury situations and seemed to pull it out. By the way, pop up, now 2 outs with the bases loaded, so that was perfect. The Giants have a little situation brewing right now. We're both watching the game, I think. Or actually, I don't know. Are you not watching it, or are you just getting alerts?
I am watching the game day because I do not have a television in front of me.
Okay, yeah. So, that was huge right there. Short little pop-up to Scutaro. All right, so Tim Hudson, though, in his last 4 starts against the Giants, 3-0 with a 2.03 ERA. We cannot beat the guy recently. And when you play for the Braves, that pisses me off because I already don't like the Braves. And Braves just always piss me off. I got to say, I've respected the Braves. I've never liked the Braves. Respect that Chipper Jones guy. Respect that Bobby Cox guy. The classy 2010 Giants team, stopped in their midfield celebration to clap for Bobby Cox. Mm-hmm. I felt like that was a good move, and he deserved that respect. But I hate the Braves. That whole stupid chant and everything, and just everything about them. And like we just talked about at the beginning of the year, winning 104 games when we won 103.
They've been in such a sore spot in all Giants fans' hearts for so long. 2010 was the first year of retribution. It really was.
Exactly.
They've always had horrible road trips in Atlanta. This year they actually did pretty well. They always were bounced, from the playoffs. It goes on and on and on. The chop, the announcers are just horrible because all you got was TBS as a kid, right?
Oh, dude, I hate the fact that the Braves were on TV all the time too.
When we grew up, I mean, basically you had Saturday baseball like on Fox or NBC or whatever the main channel was, and then you had WGN with the Cubs and Sox, and you had TBS with the Braves.
It's like these teams get year-round coverage.
Because that was way before local cable, broadcast Giants and A's. So the Giants were on the radio, occasionally on TV, and we went to a few games. But I mean, I saw more Braves games on TV than any other team.
I know. That's actually why a friend of mine is a Braves fan who grew up in the Bay Area. He's a Niners fan and a Braves fan. Doesn't make any sense.
Because of TBS.
TBS, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So Ted Turner, you win. All right, so Chad, who do you want to hate on?
I mentioned this earlier in the podcast, but I'm going to hate the Padres and the Diamondbacks because they allowed those 2 ones to slip away from the Dodgers. Otherwise, we'd be sitting here with a 6.5 game lead over over the Dodgers. So,
but the Padres just tied the game up after being down 3-1 against the Dodgers.
Oh, it was
tonight.
3-1. Well, that's good.
So it's 3-3 now. So could be a real good night here. We got two tie
Padres
games.
have been playing pretty well actually lately. So
yeah, this is some fun. This is fun September baseball right here when both teams in the race are tied going into late inning baseball and are both watching the scoreboard, I'm sure, of the other team and seeing what's going on. So this is a lot of fun right now. It's middle of the 8th, and the Padres are tied with the Dodgers. We're tied with the D-backs 6-6. This is fun.
Only 27 games left, including tonight.
All you people who talk crap about Brian Sabian, can I just say, is it more fun to be a fan of any other team than it is the Giants for the past 10 years? Considering what we've gotten to see, I mean, a World Series, perfect game, Rookie of the Year, All-Star players, guy breaking the home run record, all 2 Cy Youngs. We've seen a lot of fun stuff here as Giants fans. So,
the last 10 years, this organization has seen a lot.
Yeah,
pretty much more than any other team, except maybe the Red Sox, who won 2 World Series in that span.
Yeah, well, whatever. But they don't have 2 Cy Youngs, do they?
That's right.
Yeah. And how many perfect games they got in that span? Let's think
we
about it.
Got a Buchholz no-hitter, I think.
We got a no-hitter, too, so in your face. But, I just got to say, if I ever was, I am no longer a member of the lunatic fringe. The people who hate on Brian Sabian consistently for everything he does, I just have not been one of those guys for a very long time.
I never have.
Yeah.
You just got to look at his track record. Yeah, he's made some mistakes, but I mean, come on.
Everybody has made some mistakes, yeah.
Win-loss record. There you go.
Win-loss record is one of the best in baseball over that span. So, yep. All right, so let's talk about why we win it all. Since we're feeling so good right now and we're having so much fun watching this team, I'm going to say the team clearly has come together since losing Melky, and even with Pablo not showing his normal pop, he's starting to string base hits together again, and this lineup is far and away easily good enough to score enough runs to win with the starting 5 we have. Especially if Lincecum, Vogelsong, and Zito can pull it together and get to where they're supposed to be. This lineup is the best we've had in a very long time, and you got to feel good about this team with the pitching plus the lineup right now. So Melky seems to have solidified our clubhouse as a place these guys just seem to pull for each other at this point. So I'm feeling damn good, and I think we got as good a shot as anybody right now in baseball.
No doubt. The lineup is completely solidified. Pitching's a little questionable just with, Lincecum and Zito and now Vogelsong going on the fritz. But I think the only thing they have to do is tread water with L.A. They got 6 games left with them, so they need to split those at minimum. If they can split them, they got to basically hold a 4.5 game lead with the other 23, 22 games the rest of the season. And honestly, 4 or 5 games to make up in about 22 games is going to be tough for the Dodgers.
That's going to be real hard. Especially the Giants are going to have to tank. You know what I mean? Because the Dodgers, even if the Dodgers play really well, the Giants will have to tank for this to happen for them. So
yeah, they'll have to play under 500 the rest of the way aside from those LA games. That's why those are critical, because obviously if the Giants pull a 1-5 or a 2-4, that's where the Dodgers can have an open door. But so
even 2-4, suddenly it's a 2.5 game lead the rest of the way.
Exactly. So that's why it's huge to at least split. And what's funny is that so far the Giants have had 3 series with the Dodgers, and each team has swept one of the series.
Yeah.
They haven't.
Well, the Giants have swept them twice so far this year, and they've swept us one time. So it's very strange what's happened with these 2 teams this year. But it's with the new Dodgers, it's going to be real interesting going down the stretch here.
Nothing would be sweeter than LA coming into AT&T this weekend and the Giants pounding out a sweep.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Put this thing to bed.
By the way, Sunday is going to suck for me. Well, it's going to be great, but it's also going to suck. So the Dodgers are in town. The Niners have their first game of the year
in Green Bay,
and I'm playing a golf tournament.
Oh, and you got a tourney.
It's one of my favorite tournaments of the year. It's the Douchebag Invitational. So everybody dresses up like douchebags. It's great. I love it. I wouldn't miss it for the world, but I just wish it wasn't happening the same day as the Niners opening game and the Giants Dodgers.
There's going to be a lot of smartphones out that day.
I know. I'm going to have to bring a little radio with me and have it just the entire. I'm just going to leave it on as I golf or something. I mean, but so anyway, I think that's going to do it for the show. Chad, I'm going to see you on Thursday this week, right?
I think so.
We're actually
get
get a little FaceTime and go hang out. We should. There's no Giants game, which is unfortunate. It'd be great to go watch a game at a sports bar or something. But
when this thing popped up on my schedule, I was like, oh, cool. I'll be able to, because I knew that the Diamondbacks and Dodgers are in town. Now, how often do they have an off day in the middle of a homestand?
Yeah, I know.
That
in the middle of a
happens,
homestand. It never happens. Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, sweet.
Happens.
There'll probably be a night game or it's a getaway on Thursday.
Yeah.
Wait, there's no game on Thursday. You got to be effing kidding me.
Yeah. So, we'll go out. We'll do something. Maybe we could go play some pool, get some beers somewhere, and I'm sure we'll tweet it out to everybody out there. By the way, follow us on Twitter. You can follow me at Willie Dills. Chad is at ChadK21. And Ben Lee, who could not make it tonight due to work, is at Fried Duck. You can also follow the TortureCast itself. We are at TortureCast. Head over to our blog. It's at torturecast.com, or at TortureCast. It is www.torturecast.com. And like us on Facebook. You can donate to the podcast. There's a little donate button over there if you want. If you like what you hear, you want to help us out. Also, leave 5-star reviews on iTunes if you like what you hear. We like that too, and it helps us. It helps us get more listeners. By the way, the Giants just got runners on first and third with nobody out. Here we go. After getting out of a bases loaded, one out jam in the last half inning, things are good right now, people. This is fun baseball to watch. I'm excited to be doing this show. I'm excited to be talking baseball with some of my favorite friends here, talking about my favorite team. So, thanks everybody for listening to episode 37, the Kelly Downs episode. And for Chad King and the absent Ben Lee, my name's Willie Dills. We'll see you next time. Boom! A big thank you to everybody for listening to the TortureCast, the podcast by and for fans of the San Francisco Giants. Follow us on Twitter at TortureCast. You can also like us on Facebook or check out our blog at torturecast.com. I also want to say thank you to Ashcon and Bailey for letting us use their song Feeling Like a Giant for our intro. For Ben Lee and Chad King, my name is Willie Dills saying, we'll see you next time.